it's an eye-catching.
Yes, it is an eye-catching.
Wait.
I would not, I don't show listing if it's like
I got
1%.
lost there.
Okay. What Liddell said is that an agent will list the property for higher commission, 7, 8, 9%.
Right.
Okay? You have to understand that 1% of that selling price of 600, for example, is only $6,000.
Right.
So you can increase the commission by the percentages that the seller will pay you.
By the listing
Wait,
price.
By the listing price.
Uh-huh.
You increase the listing price to get.
So let's say that the seller will pay only a 5% commission
Right.
on a $600,000 home.
Right.
And you want to list it for 7%. So you need to have a 2% increase
Right.
on the asking price.
Okay, I understand that, but if you're doing that and then it doesn't sell because you've raised the price.
It never does.
It never does.
Uh-huh.
It's
So then
so,
what's the point of getting a higher?
It's just getting say I get commissions, I get higher commissions. Technically you don't get higher commission because this is what would happen. When an offer comes along, sometimes the seller is going to say, hey, we're going below the 600, I'm back to the 4 or 5% that I offer you to begin
Right,
with.
so what's the point?
Well, the point is that you try to trick them, because at the time of selling below, you don't want to give in what is in writing, okay? And you try to get this.
It's not even.
Well, but that's how most real estate agents handle business. Oh, it's signing, it's signed. We sign a 7%, I'm going to hold it to that. So the seller at that time can say, well, I don't want to sell.
You're not gonna get anything.
And so you don't get anything. So getting a listing at 10%, if it doesn't sell, is like getting nothing. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, a percentage of nothing is still nothing.
We could get like 3 points for taking a listing though. I want that, whatever we're gonna get.
Okay.
I give them 2% minus 5.
Is there any negotiations, for example, in our case, not that we did it for that reason, but let's say that we had the listing price, what we did was $559, but we sold it $25,000 over the listing price. So is there a way that you can make it attractive to the seller that if you are able to sell it over the asking price by a certain percentage to get them to agree to that?
Yeah, you might, but greed sets on everybody's hands, right? The seller says, well, my house was worth that much anyways.
Or you get the $25,000.
yeah, you underpriced it and I blame you.
Yeah, and then you underprice it. That's the reason why you got so many offers, you know. It's a hit and miss. There is no real, I mean, the price,
Everything is negotiation. Just ask.
It's
You don't
like-
know what they're gonna say to you.
it's like all of a sudden you make a short sale and you tell somebody you're buying this property below the market value. No, you are creating market value the moment that a buyer and a seller got together, whether it was the bank or whether it was a buyer. That becomes market value. That is market value because the next appraiser goes in, he doesn't know the circumstances of the sale. He goes up, he says unit F on that condominium complex sold for $319. I mean, technically, the entire condo complex suffer because of one person having a short pay. One person foreclosing and the property becoming REO, and then the bank disposing of it on a 1 day, you know, in a fire sale, you know. That becomes market because the next appraiser that goes in there is going to say unit F 350, so many square per footage. They don't go and say, oh, by the way, that's a short pay, or that was a divorce, or that one was a person retiring, or that was the circumstances of the sale are not disclosed.
And that's why, sometimes when we buy, as an acquisition, we buy lower market value and it's recorded that low. It's hard, when you do comparables, there's like one of them is like really low and you can't explain why, and we have to include that with the comparables. No matter what the reason is.
Exactly. No matter what the reason is, you have to use it because that one becomes a comparable.
Yeah, it sucks though, but yeah.
Okay, the same thing might happen with a sale, an arm's length sale. The brothers are, mom passes away and the brothers are settling, and all of a sudden they record a transaction, and it is the lowest.
Yeah.
So I was told long time ago, when you do a CMA, You throw out the most expensive one and you throw out the cheapest one. Only throw one, you throw out the most expensive one and you throw out the cheapest one, and then you do your market analysis on the middle. And that will be some sort of closer market value. But hey, in a declining market, in a flat market, that's comparable. So technically, that's market value. Tomorrow, after that sale closes, nobody wants to pay higher than when someone else was able to get a property for. We don't want to pay higher.
Yeah, because we compare it to that one
We
too.
will be compared to that one. And then the banks are also going to compare to that lower one. So that's when people say, well, the real estate market drops. You know, if somebody doesn't sell, my house still worth $10 million. Right? Until it records that it's for $1. Until mine records for $1. Okay, here is, we love this one. We love the seller financing. It says, if the seller's equity allows it to have them consider selling financing, which open up the door to more buyers, explain how this will open the market to potential new buyers, okay? Right now, I'm at number 29. I went from 30 to 29, but it is an opportunity. The lenders are closing down on the 80-20s, but it may not be a possibility. You go to the Bank of Americans and the Washington Mutual, they have programs where they have it called 80-10-10, where the buyer comes in only with 10% down, the seller carries the 10%, bank lends the 80. This way they don't have to do the PMI, the premium mortgage insurance. The interest rate will be the normal because the lender is only risking the same 80%. Okay. At one time, I think there was like a 5% down, and they would allow a 15% seller carry. And it has the same effect. The bank is only lending 80% loan to value. Okay? I don't know if they're still available, but you can check with the banks. Usually the Countrywides, the Bank of America have bigger and better products than the mortgage broker, because the mortgage broker, there's only so much that the mortgage broker can retain in his head to be able to do it. In the other banks, they run it by like a computer, and they approve them several scenarios. They approve loans with different scenarios, different programs. They approve them simultaneously,
But you also would want to tell them that that's a throwaway second. Just cross your fingers and hope you get paid, because you can't sell it for nothing and there's no protective equity. So if they care about it, that's if like, okay, I don't want to lower my price. All right, I'll carry 10% and keep my fingers crossed. If they really care about it, they'd have the bank go down to maybe 60 and they'd take a 40 with 10% down. Then they have something that could actually be sold and actually worth something.
Okay.
If the bank goes, if they just have the bank do 50 or 60%, and then they have a 90%.
If the seller's equity allows it, right? There's another one there. I mean, but if the seller's equity doesn't allow it, then we can't do anything.
But they have to know that note's pretty much worth nothing. It's only like gambling money.
Right.
If they keep paying, I'm lucky. If not, I'll be screwed.
Right. You're hoping that on something like that, the seller will continue making the monthly payments,
Right.
or that the seller can always foreclose and get the house back.
Right, but I'm just saying, there's usually not enough equity to keep the first current for a 10% position.
Yeah.
So it's a waste of money.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, you just do it with the hope. But there is a lot of people that will buy even those throwaway money at a discount, and you can take.
No buyers won't buy it in an appreciating market, yes, all day long.
In a depreciating market, nothing.
The LTVs are going down from 70% down to 65% for most people who are private money. They're wanting more and more.
Yeah, because it's riskier.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's riskier.
But there are people who made a killing buying those 10% ones when the market was going up. Yeah, they made a killing.
They made a killing.
Yeah, for now.